let's go to the drone that everybody's asking about what it is. Michael B is up there saying, well, I wanted to find out if it's okay for me to get clearance to take my drone up. He tries to take it up. Nope, he's declined. He can't do that. There's a bunch of other people talking about what the possibilities would be. And then here, while they're having a hearing for the drones, a journalist asks a question, and this is what the response was. Go ahead, Rob.
To be a classified briefing.
Rob,
if these
go
are
back
just
a little bit
hobbyist
because we missed the
drones,
first
they're not
part.
military drones.
Go all the way to the beginning. Go for it.
Why does it have to be a classified briefing if these are just hobbyist drones, they're not military drones? Why is it a classified briefing on the Capitol Hill?
I'd have to refer you to Congress on that. Sharing as much information as we can here. I don't have the briefing in front of me, so I can't tell you specifically, what aspects are classified or not. I can assure you, though, that, again, we are sharing as much information as we can based on what we know.
Okay, so then the question becomes, do you believe any of it?
No.
Biden's being asked the question. I don't know if you have that clip or not, Rob. If there's a clip of President Biden being asked what it is, and, you have to listen, guys. So whatever you do, try to listen as closely as possible and raise the audio a little bit. He is next to a plane or a helicopter, so it's a little choppy, literally. But try to see if you can hear what he's saying. Go ahead, Rob.
Nothing nefarious, apparently. They're checking it all out. I think it's just one. There's a lot of drones authorized up there. I think one started and they all got it. Everybody's wanting to get in the deal.
So look, if you're somebody that's naive and innocent and you believe everything the government tells you, which is what you're supposed to do that, right? Your teacher tells you that in high school, the government is all good and they do everything but good. Some people want to question it. They're part of this annoying community called I have questions. I have some curiosity. Is it real? What's going on? Here's John Ferguson. Before I bring him up, I want to properly introduce him. He's a highly accomplished professional with over 25 years of experience spanning aerospace, telecommunication, critical infrastructure, and unmanned systems. And as the founder and chairman of Saxon Aerospace, based in Kansas, he's developed innovative technologies like unmanned aerial vehicles and other things. Former vet, Marine. He did recon operations during Desert Storm, followed by deep sea diving, and additionally spanning global work to 80-plus countries, working on fiber optic cables and many other things. So he's got a different perspective that he's given here. John, first of all, thank you for your service, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you. It's an absolute honor to be here with you, gentlemen. I love your show. This is fantastic. So thank you.
Anytime. Well, listen, when Joe tweets out your video and he says, this is the realest guy, this is the first thing that I see that I actually believe, and then all of a sudden, hundreds of millions of views, everybody's watching your answer. If you don't mind, maybe taking a minute for somebody the audience hasn't seen, give your idea of what you said in the video, and then maybe we'll have some follow-up questions.
Well, thank you. I stand by everything that I say or that I had said on that video. I was just doing the math. I've sat in my office and I've been monitoring this whole drone issue, and I've heard some, amazing theories on this drone phenomenon. And then I'm hearing our elected officials saying that this is Iran coming from a mothership, coming out of the ocean. This is Chinese operatives flying Chinese drones. And I just thought, oh my God. Like if our foreign policy isn't screwed up enough right now, the last thing we need to do is go pissing off, two of our largest adversaries. So I just thought, why don't I just do a technical breakdown of how drones operate so people in the world could just understand a little bit more about how drones operate so they can start to make their own assessment and not take my word for it as to what is out there, but really just do your own assessment on the drones with the knowledge that I have given you, right? So again, my belief and this, and I can't get too deep into the details, but what I said about them potentially, looking for some type of, radioactive material or gas leak or something along those lines, I stand by that. I stand by that firmly.
How many did you say were missing? Did you say a couple
warhead, like nuclear warheads from Ukraine?
Warheads were missing?
And so everybody tends to get this wrong from based on what I said. And I just emailed you guys some, I emailed your producer, Tony, some documents that shows the claims that I'm saying. But back in the 80s, when Reagan was dismantling the nuclear arms program, there were 132 nuclear warheads that came up missing. They have since recovered several of them. There are a few out there. And, you know, everyone that knows me, I have a large footprint around the world. I have a very huge network. And I do have a small political footprint, meaning I do communicate with some elected officials, and I don't want to overplay that. But this gentleman that I was referring to in the video, it has nothing to do with a shipping container with medical supplies, right? Absolutely not. That's two totally separate deals. But this gentleman was in the very same room with that particular warhead, and I can't give out any more details, but he saw it. It was there. It was right in front of him, right? So he came back and he was trying to raise awareness to the United States, and he really didn't get any response from our elected officials. And this has been a multi-year investigation.
What is the level of credibility of this individual? We don't need
100%.
names. Oh, so by the way, is this
100%.
somebody we would know or we wouldn't know?
No.
Okay, but this is somebody that the people that are in that space have a very high level of respect for, that when he says something, they listen.
He communicates with leaders in Europe.
He communicates with leaders in Europe. Got it. Okay.
And you don't communicate with leaders in Europe if you're not credible.
And he shared with you that he saw what it was. So are you speculating that they're looking for something that may be out there in the greater Jersey and New York area?
Well, I will answer that question very directly. But this gentleman came back to me and he's like, look, I know you have a large network and I know you have some, contacts of elected officials, can you help me raise awareness? And I said, sure. I made some phone calls and I didn't get anywhere either. Right. So his concern was that was coming over here to the United States. Right. So when I see these drones flying at night, as I had stated in the video, there's really no reason for a drone to be flying at night because you can't see anything with a standard camera, right?
Sure.
Now, we do have great thermal optics and you can see very well at night, but your resolution just isn't going to be the same. So if you're going to try to detect some form of substance on the ground, it would be better to do it at night, just simply because the winds aren't as aggressive and you are measuring parts per million, right? So that's what I was just doing the math. I was just showing people that I don't know what they're looking for. I don't know if they're looking for a radioactive material. I said that in the video.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is that what they're looking for has to be pretty damned important, because if you look at the cost of the hysteria and the financial cost of operating these unmanned systems versus the cost of something that could happen, what could happen could outweigh the cost of hysteria. And these are decisions that our federal government had to make.
So, John, let me ask you this. So while you go and your video all of a sudden pops, when that happens, you're going to be swamped with emails, text messages, people who know you and say, hey, John, oh, my God, I saw this. But you're also going to get a few weird phone calls, right? You're going to get a few weird text messages and people that are going to say, John, that's actually not what it is. It's actually this. It's actually that. Did you get any credible phone calls from credible people that disagreed with you and said, John, what's actually going on is this. I know what's going on, and it's XYZ because I got a friend there. Did you get any calls from people that disagreed with you and said, you're wrong, that's not what it is?
I did not get any phone calls. I've had messages. Of course, I'm just a small drone company, and now all of a sudden I'm the face, I guess, of this New Jersey drone phenomenon, right? So, I think the United States, I think the world was just looking for some type of really educated assessment of what's happening. But, After I did that and it went viral, I communicated with law enforcement to just say, hey, look, this is what I did. And they're like, yeah, you're good. You just said what your opinion was and your theory, and all's well, right? But, there are a lot of people out there who are just not nice. And, that's the devolution of humanity, is the fact that you can't disagree with somebody and be nice about it, right? But no, I haven't had any phone calls, but yes, there are a lot of videos out there.
Yeah, you're everywhere. You're literally everywhere. Tom, did you have a question for John?
Yep. Well, John, thank you for giving an opinion. Thank you for synthesizing your thoughts as an informed person, especially on drone technology. I want to ask you something that maybe you have some visibility to. So I did a bunch of reading, and the old warheads, even the ones that aren't found, the ones that are plutonium-based, which was most of them, apparently that requires a lot of maintenance. Like, you have to maintain. So when we hear billions of dollars of government to maintain the nuclear arsenal, my understanding is like every 8 to 12 years, with an average of like 9 to 11, the warhead has to be serviced, because the plutonium that's highly processed to get the full nuclear yield out of the bomb, it has to be maintained, and even the fuel load has to be replaced. And it was that Ukraine, like Jane's, Jane's on the defense experts, Jane's publications, even they talked about that apparently Ukraine didn't have the technology to take care of all these. And so during the disarmament of the previous generation of nukes, that was the frontier nukes that Russia was putting out there, not their first technology, but their second, was these things were out there and kind of deplete, so that any of them that is missing and escaped is basically dirty bomb grade at this time. That it's not like big nuke Hiroshima type stuff capability, that in the hands of a bad actor, it would be a massive contamination dirty bomb. Do you have an opinion on that? Because I've read a bunch of stuff in the last 24 hours. A lot of it seemed very credible.
Yeah. And, the one thing that I would like to say is that I am under no circumstance any type of a nuclear expert. I'll tell you guys a really quick story. I used to pilot submersible vehicles, and I did a job several years ago where we were putting wind farms in off the coast of Germany, and all of these old World War II munitions kept exploding. And so we would take our submersibles and we would fly down to the bomb sitting on the bottom of the ocean and plant a charge next to it and blow up the munitions. And it made a hell of a explosion when we detonated those. So even since the 1940s, those things still had some punch to them. So again, not being a nuclear expert, I would say that, it would be my summation that they would have some type of a radioactive or dirty bomb, level impact on the United States. But who would want to take that chance, right? So, but yeah, I would agree. And I have heard that, the triggers only last for so long and all this other stuff. And the ones that are actually missing, we don't know who has them. Nobody in the world knows who has them. So we don't know if they have the technology to service them or not.
Hey, John, Vincent O'Shaughnessy here. I want to say first, thank you for your service. Myself, I'm an Air Force veteran, worked at a nuclear missile base, kind of random, in Malmstrom Air Force Base. I could understand, John, how, the military, the government they constantly lie. Let's just be honest with each other. I can understand the not telling us because of the panic that it would cause. But, if you had to guess, John, who would be behind bringing this thing to the United States? It's obviously for nefarious reasons. Like, some people would believe, came to the border, open border from Mayorkas and Biden and all that stuff. But what would you think? Like, who would be wanting to do that, and who would want to bring it here, and then them being so secretive about it?
I think if I answered that question, I'd be dead by tomorrow morning.
Oh, wow. And why do you say that, John?
Because I'm sure that if I were right, they wouldn't appreciate it. And I'm saying that jokingly, but there are some bad actors out there that we know that would want to bring this thing to the U.S. Absolutely, we know the organizations, and I'm not saying we as in me. I'm saying the United States government knows who those bad actors are. I do not. But I do know that this guy called me up. He almost was crying, saying, why the hell are these people not listening to me? Can you please help me? And I felt compelled to help this gentleman. So I've kept my knowledge of this at a very high level because I don't want to do anything that's going to break any national security protocol out there at all.
Well, listen, if you had to give a percentage of two questions, one, the government knowing what it is, that's one, and two, it being us and nobody else, what percentage would you say the government knows? 80% they know, or two, 80% it's us, the U.S. Government. It's not anybody else on the outside. And when I say U.S. government, I don't mean our military. It could be CIA, could be, could be whatever that's us, that's here. Where would you put those two?
And you're referring to us as in the United States government bringing these assets to the United States?
Yes. One is, are the drones operators ours or a foreign country entity that's using them?
Okay, it seems like that's a two-part question.
It is.
My thought are the United States being responsible for bringing that here. I would say that's a pretty good chance. I'm sorry, I just don't want to put a number on it. But and as far as the drone operators, I mean, think about this, guys. Think about this. Under what reality is there a place where the United States government would allow foreign adversarial operatives to fly unmanned aircraft inside the continental United States? You know, I got into a small disagreement with a gentleman on Newsmax a couple of days ago where he had stated that there were Chinese operatives flying these. And then I've heard the Iranians are operating. You know, the Chinese and the Iranians are sitting back going, who the hell are you guys? Well, why are you saying we're doing this, right? But it's just not going to happen. That would be like we invading the beaches on D-Day and the Germans just saying, hey, come on in. Yeah. No exchanges or nothing. That's what this is. That's what they're saying. They're saying that they're allowing an invasion in the United States. I mean, show me a redneck anywhere in the United States that would allow a foreign operative to fly an unmanned aircraft that's an adversary. It ain't going to happen, right? So under no circumstance do I believe that these are foreign operatives flying unmanned aircraft. I stick by what I said. I'm telling you that I believe 100% that our administration knows about it. They're involved, and they just don't want to tell you. Because if you think about the cost of hysteria that it's causing, you know, that doesn't outweigh the cost of what would happen if something potentially catastrophic were to happen, right? You got to think about that, right? So, and then what administration in any country around the world would say, well, hey guys, there was some nuclear, warheads missing back in the 80s. We think one's on its way here, so we're going to look for them with these drones, but don't worry about the drones. It's not a big deal. Just look the other way.
Yeah, exactly.
Nobody's going to say that. And so when they come out and tell the American people, they tell the world what these drones are doing, I'm going to bet that they're not going to be telling you the truth. It's going to sound good. And American people, we're resilient. We're going to go, huh, that's what they were used for. Oh, okay. And then we're going to carry on, right? But it's just not, it's not going to be the truth. It can't be the truth, because if this is an operation to find a catastrophic asset, we will never know as the American people. But that's where I disagree with our legislators. We elected these people, and they are supposed to answer to us. And so when we, the American people, ask questions, they need to tell us the truth.
Yeah, the fact that it's taken this long, it's mind-boggling that it's taken since November 18th to have known, give or take. That's the date that started being reported on it. By the way, just Chase Hughes, a couple other guys are talking about this could be a psyop. This could be a way of distracting everybody to be talking about something like this because there's nothing there. And they're just kind of saying, hey, keep talking about this. While we got to get this big spending bill through, while we got to get, make Trump stuff a little bit more difficult, while we got to pin Trump against Musk, while we got to do this. How much of it could also be just a psyop to throw everybody off while they're doing something even more nefarious behind closed doors?
100%.
Okay. Now you're saying percentages.
There we
I
go.
got you to say
I love it.
percentages.
Yeah,
Good. Okay.
I'll go on record saying that.
You don't want to give yourself an out, maybe 99.9%.
like
You're
it.
just, you're,
No, stay
Okay.
there, John.
You're at
Stay there.
100.
No, I'm rock solid. I'm right there.
I
man.
love
this guy ain't wavering right
roll
now.
with
This
it.
guy ain't playing.
I'm with it. Well,
Wow,
John,
respect.
appreciate you for your time to getting on here with us. I'm glad now we're in contact with each other because, I don't know because the way you said it, I thought maybe it sounds like you specialize in rednecks using drones. I mean, that's got,
Hell yeah, America, buddy.
But you said 80 plus countries, so there's not a lot of rednecks in
Jersey.
some of these other places you're talking about.
Them
But
rednecks in Greece.
We look forward to staying in contact with you and having you back on because I don't think the drone situation is going away anytime soon. I think we'll be dealing with that for many, many years to come. Again, appreciate your time. God bless. Merry Christmas. Thank you for your service.
Merry Christmas, and thank you to all your listeners. Thank you so much.
Take care. Take care. All right. So interesting. What do you think about what John just said?
So there's a few things. So let's go through them really, really fast.
Go.
If it's the U.S. government testing defense stuff, every now and then people see it, and you don't know what you see it, and then it kind of goes away. Like Edwards Air Force Base, I'm telling you, it's a true story about all the weird planes people would see in the sky, reported UFOs. Test is over, and they go back to their hangar. Okay, number one, is it a test? Number two, are they really looking for something? And and this is our government using drones that we have to go out and look for something exactly he's talking about. Number three, it's a Chinese weather balloon on steroids, but we're not doing anything about it, and we're trying to talk to them about it, and we're not getting anywhere, but they don't want to panic because so there's never been a shot fired. Just remember, the Chinese weather balloon, if you think about it, Pat, that was, I was reading, the first shot fired in anger at a foreign adversary over the 48 U.S. in modern history. Mm-hmm. This goes, because remember, the British sailed up and burned down the White House once, but this is modern times, right? So if you're shooting things down over the East Coast, you're basically admitting to the American people that a foreign adversary can get across the two biggest natural barriers that any country in the world has, the Pacific Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean. You think about that, right? Mm-hmm. And so second is, if it's really a foreign actor and they're trying to negotiate and they're trying to figure this out, and they don't want to shoot it down because you're basically having like hot engagement over New York and New Jersey. Mm-hmm. That's going to make people a little bit squidgy, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the third choice. So I think military test, why would you go this long and risk this hysteria? I agree with this guy. Then you've got, we're doing it because we're trying to figure something out. We just don't want to talk about it. And then third, it is a foreign adversary. It's a Chinese spy balloon on steroids. And we don't want to get in a hot conduct shooting down mosquitoes over the Eastern Seaboard.
Yeah, but Tom, but it comes back to, do you trust them? Like, with all the facts that I know, we talk about 100%, 80%.
Do I trust the government?
I don't. In my heart, like, you ever get the vibe of people?
Well, we're down at 17%, right?
Yeah, thank you. I don't trust anything that they're saying. The government. By the way, I had secret clearance in the military. These guys, they're not stupid. The stuff that they know the Pentagon doesn't know and they won't answer, Tom. That's where we lose as people trust. And then going back, it's like, so what's the deal? Is there if there's something on this soil, Tom, that and I always go back to Alejandro Mayorkas, they left an open border, which is a turnstile for all negative stuff. Fentanyl, there's 500,000 kids missing. And then you have, the illegal votes. And now you have, there's a potential nuke, Tom. And I feel, this is Vincent Oshana's feeling, that anything to disrupt what Trump is coming in to do with anything. Because if they all of a sudden go, hey, guys, you know what? There's a leak of a plutonium something because it came in and now everything else flips up. Because, Tom, once that happens, it's over. There's no coming back from a tactical nuke going off, God forbid, okay? God forbid something like that, or a leak of that type of material in the United States. It's over.
Well, there's a lot of people that argue that the dirty bomb is more of a problem than a full nuclear payload.
And why is that?
Well, because of the way it can contaminate.
Everything, the water.
By the way, and there's opinions that go back and forth on that. They say, well, it depends on what warhead you're launching. It depends on what you did with it. It depends on was it an atmospheric, explosion, or was it a ground explosion? Was it in water supply?
Well, look, here's the reality of it. We're not going to know on what's going on, but the biggest thing you need, as for someone like me, I just want, in any situation I'm going through, it doesn't matter what it is, okay? If it's a war, if it's finances, if it's valuation of a business, if it's a client complaint, if it's a lawsuit, if it's a mistake someone made, I want as many testimonies as possible. I want as many angles as possible, because once you have this person, that person, this person, that person, this person. Today, a guy sends me a Manek, and he tells me about his business partners. And he says, him and his business partners are having a challenging time. And I gave him a strategy of what to do. But I also said to him, I said, you have to know that I have to also assume everything you're telling me is right, the fact that your business partners are being nefarious. What if you're the one that's being like that? Mm-hmm. I'm not hearing their side of the story. But if what you're telling me is true, here's some feedback for you, right? I think we need intel. This is very helpful. By the way, just because we have John on doesn't mean he's 100% right. It doesn't mean it can't be China. It doesn't mean it can't be Iran. It doesn't mean it can't be nothing. It doesn't mean everything is there. You and I get to choose and say, I think it's 42% here, 22% here. Yep. And then at the end of the day, we find out.
Can I ask you a question, Pat? Would you want to know, and do you think it's smart to tell the public that, yes, there is a nuclear weapon that came in through the southern border and it's here? Would you want to wake up the public to maybe keep an eye out, or do you think it would cause more harm than good?
No,
I'm curious.
But let me give you an idea on how this works. Okay. If something's going on with our family and it's a real issue, I think you must not even. You know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So you know what I'm saying? And that's why when Tom does that, it drives me insane.
I hate when he does that.
Every time. Rob, by the way,
Rob knows.
You know what I want to give Rob a shout out to? Rob's been learning Aramaic.
He knows Aramaic.
Yeah, he
knows
listens
the
to
language that
Duolingo.
Jesus spoke.
Yeah, the Duolingo.
He's
been one of their guys that's been on streaking for a million. Yeah. But anyways,
all you got to say is machleta.
Machleta.
Machleta. By the way, shout out to the what's the toilet thing that I got in the mail?
Oh, you got it already?
What is it called again?
Oh, Garshok. Did you get one or no? Did anybody send it to you?
Of course, the best. I use it every night.
All right, so let me go back to this point.
Goya Hashem.
When you're going through family stuff that's taking place, there's certain levels of things that you want your kids to know what's going on.
Yeah.
But some of the things, they're not ready. You may be ready for something to know at 18, but you weren't ready at 14 to know about it.
I agree.
You may be ready to know at 14, but not at 10. You may be ready at 10, but not at 6. Vice versa. Some of the things you have to talk about, right? The only reason the U.S. government doesn't want the public to know if it really is a nuclear warhead or whatever it is because the government looks at the American people as kids, and they're not. They're adults. I think the more straight up American people are, the government is with the American people, that trust goes up. The reason, like when I had President Trump on the podcast, and I'm going to transition to the next stories, but we got a bunch of other things to cover. When I showed him, I said, one of my favorite things you ever did is when you brought Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer into your office, the White House, with 50 cameras, and you said, I'm willing to shut the government down. Guess what? We're back to shutting the government down again. Yeah. You said, I'm ready to shut the government down, and it was a vlog type. You know what it did? It got us to realize who the a-hole was and who was willing to lean and take responsibility. Mm-hmm. And you know what? Go ahead and play this clip, Rob. Look how intense it gets.
I love it.
Talking about. The last time, Chuck, you shut it down.
No.
And then you opened it up very quickly.
Watch this.
20 times.
I don't want to do what you did.
20 times
Chuck,
you have called for, I will shut down the government if I don't get my wool. None of us have
you
said.
Want to know
he owns
something?
it.
You said
okay,
it.
you want to put that on my...
You said it.
I'll take it.
I'll take it.
That's leadership.
You know what I'll say? Yes. If we don't get what we want...
You just saw right there. Schumer's playing politics. Trump is saying, I'll take it. You know what? For a guy like me, I like this. Versus with Biden, what happens? We don't see nothing.
Zero.
Show it to us, right? The trust goes up where we're in there with you. Okay, I got it. Does that need to be every single thing you do? No, because the enemy's also watching.
Exactly.
But I think there's 5, 10, 15, 20% of the stuff that you can do for us to see as well to increase the level of trust the American people have in the government. You know what will be one of the biggest accomplishments in Trump by 2028? Go to the trust in the U.S. government, Rob, percentage. If I was Trump's camp and I'm doing a business plan for our team, and we said, hey, guys, go to 2028. What 5 milestones can we reach to call it I have my own list that I would share with the administration, but I'm going to give one of them. If the president and his camp, Musk, Vivek, Tulsi, Patel, Bobby, all of these names, I don't want to miss any one of them, Susie, every one of these guys, if by 2028 the trust in the U.S. government suddenly goes up to 45%, that may be one of the biggest victories on their top 5. Because what the people said is, they're not saying they trust the U.S. government. What they're saying is, we trust today's administration.
Yeah.
They're not saying they trust the government.
Yeah.
They're saying we trust you today. Not we trust you, period, right? That could be one of the biggest victories. And one of the ways he could do it is by doing an open forum vlog style talking where we're kind of seeing what's going on. Christmas around the corner. We are wearing the sweater. That is the most incredibly comfortable sweater. It hugs you.
Oh, I love it.
I dare you to order 1 and 2 for your family and wear it and say, I don't like it. Okay? I dare you to do it. On the back, if you're proud to say Merry Christmas, this one says Merry Christmas. If the camera can zoom in on Tom, Vinny, or Adam. Adam says Happy Hanukkah, but we're mainly going to focus on Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
Special order.
Okay? It crosses out Happy Holidays. Rob, if you can put the picture up there so people can see it.
It says Chappy
Instead it
Hanukkah.
says Merry Christmas. It's out there. And then we have a couple of the Merry Christmas hats that are left. If you can go back to the Merry Christmas hat, Rob, that we have left at the top. Those 2 are still here with scripture in it for some of you guys that want that. And then we have the pajamas. We have a bunch of gear. Future Looks Bright pajamas, Future Looks Bright shirts. And these pants are here matching the sweater that I'm wearing. That's got the Valuetainment logo, Future Looks Bright on the side, and the Future Looks Bright, what do you call this stuff?
I'm taking those.
What is this thing called?
The tassels. Tassel, the waistband tighteners.
there's a-
I don't
there's
even know
a
the real
name
name.
for it, but
Whatever,
they're here
Adam.
as well.
These are the softest sweaters I've ever felt in
this
my
is
life. I
just
swear to God. I
incredible
don't wear
wearing
sweaters
this.
in Miami. This is ridiculous.
Go place the order today. And the way you get it pre-Christmas is to put shipping that it's shipped out today. You do that. Today is the last day to get it. First 50, a unique Future Looks Bright mug coming your way. Place your orders if you're proud and comfortable saying Merry Christmas and sporting them when you go to the mall, anywhere during this season. If you enjoyed this video, you want to watch more videos like this, click here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast, click here.